missing all types of lumber products, hard-to-find woods, and paneling materials that are in stock and ready to help you conquer anything the job throws your way. Locally owned, Little Shavers Woodshop has a friendly, knowledgeable staff to get you in, out, and on with your day. Little Shavers Woodshop, 3301 Salisbury Highway in Statesville. Little Shavers Woodshop, LILshavers.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome. The Scoreboard. Ooh, man, are we going to have some fun today. I got a little NASCAR news for you. Breaking news, that is. News that broke not long ago. NASCAR is doing a really good job here recently of staying in the news cycle. You know, maybe it's bad, maybe it's good, but they are staying in the news cycle. And I think that's kind of important for NASCAR to stay relevant, stay in the news cycle. We'll keep talking about them as long as they keep making news. So we have some NASCAR news for you today. It's regarding Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. You're going to want to stick around for this because I got a few things on this here. I got an article from NASCAR. I got Bob Pockrass's information that he sent us. We have a statement from, I'll just say it. We have a statement from the president of TRD, Toyota Racing Development. So this is going to be interesting. So you're going to want to stay tuned to hear this story out of NASCAR. Also, we have an update on the car in NASCAR. Yes, an actual car update. We all saw what happened to Corey LaJoie on Sunday at Michigan. A very routine spin that ended up sending his car up and over. Just, man, these next-gen cars just blow over like it's nothing. Oh, it's the grass. Right when he hit the grass, that's when the car caught air. Yeah, well, there was no grass where LaJoie wrecked at Michigan. He just went upside down. Oh, crazy wreck. An absolutely insane wreck. But NASCAR updating the car, hoping to make it a little bit safer, maybe keep all four tires on the ground. Here's the thing. When you're racing at 200 miles an hour, there's a chance that the car is going to go upside down. We've seen cars flip over at Dover. Anytime you're racing, motorsports, there's a chance that the car is not going to stay on the wheels. So everybody just needs to calm down. Let's not overreact to a car flipping over. It happens all the time. It happens once a year. I told you guys this last year, I believe. NASCAR, for quite some time now, has had one car upside down in one of their series every year for a while. It's been a long time since we've seen a season where we didn't have a car go upside down. And even in a year where we didn't have one during actual competitive racing, we had Jamie McMurray flip over on top of the 31 of Ryan Newman. That was a few years ago. That was the only flip of the season, but it still counted. It was part of practice for Daytona. I'm getting ahead of myself here, kind of getting off track. So we'll talk some NASCAR. Also, the Panthers making news headlines. No, not because of an injury yet. We already talked about the injury to starting cornerback Dane Jackson. He is still expected to begin the season on injured reserve, which is now being called a severe hamstring injury. Severe hamstring injury. Not a tear. I guess he just kind of tweaked it and it never got better and it's just a bad one. I don't know. I'm not a muscle expert, but hamstring injury, a severe one for Dane Jackson. The Panthers making news headlines. We have some other news stories for you here today. College basketball story. A head coach in the NCAA football scene getting suspended for a game. Also, Major League Baseball. Okay. we've been talking about Aaron Judge and the run that he's been on. Last night, he hit 2 home runs. 2 home runs last night. And then, by the way, the Yankees have already played today. The game is, I believe the game is already over from earlier today. Yes, the game is over. The Yankees won while Aaron Judge hit another home run today. So 2 yesterday, 1 today, and then he hit 1 also on Tuesday. That now gives Aaron Judge a whopping 48 home runs on the year. The Yankees have played 128 baseball games so far. Okay, do the math. A little over 30 games left, and he's at 48 home runs. Can he get to 60? Is he going to beat his 62 from 2022? Man, there's a chance. There really is a chance, and I think that's going to be the biggest story in baseball as we get to the end of the year. Unless, and this is a big unless some of these division races really start to heat up. And it is a possibility. You have the Royals and the Twins currently 2 games behind the Guardians as the Guardians lose to the Yankees earlier today. The Orioles are a game back of the Yankees in their division there. But that game for the Orioles, their next game is later on tonight. They'll be taking on the Astros. They have a chance to make that an even division again. The Mariners are still falling back here, unfortunately. 5 games back of the division. The Braves lost a game last night. They are now 7 games back. The NL Central is still decided. I don't believe that anything's going to change in that division. And as far as the NL West goes, the division that we're really paying attention to, the Dodgers have kind of evened out here. They're not giving up as much ground to the Diamondbacks and Padres as they were a couple of months ago. But still, you look at the Major League Baseball scene and you're looking at the top teams in MLB and saying, man, there really is no separation at the top of the league. Everybody is, for lack of a better term, pretty mediocre this year. Nobody's sitting right in that mediocrity spot where they're at 500, though. I mean, there are teams sitting at 500, actually one of them right at 500, that being the Seattle Mariners, which is crazy when you consider that they were leading their division for so long, and now they only sit at 500, 5 games back of the Astros. It's a weird year for baseball. It is a very weird year for baseball. I don't know what the rest of this year is going to have in store for us. I don't. Because it's been too unpredictable. We haven't seen any consistency, really, out of Major League Baseball this year. Everything's kind of getting topsy-turvy. Teams are going on runs where they'll win 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row, and then all of a sudden they lose 5 straight. And it's like, okay, all that all that ground you made up, you just kind of lost it in the next couple of weeks. So we'll be discussing Major League Baseball in its entirety. Man, the end of September, it's right around the corner. Fall Classics coming up. You know what else is coming up Saturday? This is going to blow your mind. Saturday, we have college football on TV. Actual college football games. No, this isn't like Spring League or something like that. It's summer. It's the end of summer. But this coming weekend, Saturday, we are going to have college football games, starting with Florida State taking on Georgia Tech out in Dublin. And then we'll have 3 other games on Saturday as well. And then next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is going to be a full slate of college football. So we'll have more updates on the college football world for you. Right now, though, we're going to head to our first commercial break of the program. When we return, we'll get into NASCAR, talk about some of the news that broke earlier today. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Scoreboard, and we're back after this.
More of Sports Director Joe Berg's The Scoreboard is coming up on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
I don't really know what we did to deserve this, but we'll accept it without any reservations. Beautiful weather continues. for the rest of our work week. Plenty of sunshine today, still low humidity. Temperatures climb up to around 80 for this afternoon. We fall back tonight into those upper 50s around the outlying spots and farms. Could see mid-50s by early Friday morning. Sunshine, low 80s for Friday afternoon. Weekend still in great shape. It's a little more humid, a little hotter next week. That's your forecast for the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like Greystone Lodge in Boone.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Langtree, Lake Norman, and Mooresville has free music this Thursday featuring a concert by Third Rail. Third Rail presents their high-energy show of rock and roll cover songs, while Langtree is open for food and drinks. Event time is 6:30 p.m., music begins at 7, and the Langtree shops off Exit 31 from I-77 are open all day. Grab your lawn chairs and enjoy Langtree Live this Thursday night with a free concert by Third Rail. Brookdale Village in Huntersville continues their Friday night Live Under the Oaks concert series with music from Dukes and Smith. The Dukes and Smith Band provides an energetic mix of pop, rock, country, R&B, and beach music. Come and enjoy all Brookdale Village has to offer with the free Dukes and Smith concert beginning at 6 p.m. Friday at Brookdale Village in Huntersville. Downtown Mooresville presents the Downtown Summer Sidewalk Sale this Saturday. Join locally owned businesses for hot sales. Come shop till you drop in downtown Mooresville on Saturday. Davidson presents Concerts on the Green Saturday. The Dave Matthews Tribute Band plays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the Davidson Village Green. Enjoy this free performance on Saturday night in downtown Davidson. On Saturday, September 7th, see the top riders from the Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship as they compete on a custom-built course at ZMAX Dragway. The playoff opener features a two-moto format for the 450cc class and the 250cc class, promising plenty of drama and excitement the moment the gates drop. The Super Motocross Fan Fest is a pre-race event taking place from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. where you can see the teams practice, prepare, and qualify for the playoff round and is included with your event ticket. Don't miss the biggest Super Motocross race of the year. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com or the CMS app for information and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
If you have an upcoming event, let WSIC spread the word. Go to WSICnews.com and click on the Community Calendar button. WSIC, proud to be part of your community.
No radio? No worries.
Just ask Alexa to play WSIC.
Now more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get back to baseball. I know. I promised we were going to talk about what's going on in the world of NASCAR. We do have NASCAR news to go over with you. I promise we're going to get there, but we have breaking news out of the MLB today. This is from a few minutes ago. The spiraling Seattle Mariners, who have lost 8 of 9, have reportedly fired their manager, Scott Service, this afternoon. A source confirmed to ESPN amid multiple reports. Boy, I'm not surprised. I mean, I kind of am, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. Man, they got outscored 17-7 in a 3-game sweep of the Dodgers. They continue to lose ground to the Astros. I'm not surprised that they're firing their manager. The Mariners, by the way, they had a 10-game division lead earlier in the year. They were up big. And we talked about it during the summer. The Astros, they were kind of, at the beginning of the summer, we definitely talked about this. The Astros, they were thinking maybe it's time to send some of our pieces off to other places and start to kind of regroup and rebuild this team. Then all of a sudden they start getting hot. The Mariners start to falter. And now, man, the Mariners that's like a 14-game difference right now. They were up 10 games. Now they're down 4. And Scott Service gets fired. He is no longer the manager of the Seattle Mariners. It's a pretty interesting swing for those teams. I cannot believe how bad. And they're down 5 games, by the way, so it's 15-game turnaround. They were up as much as a 10-game lead in that division. Man, just goes to show you it's not over till it's over. Plenty of time for these baseball teams to come back in their division. I don't expect many 10-game comebacks in a division in a year, but everybody's favorite team to hate on right now, the Houston Astros. Make that happen, and Scott Service loses his job as the manager of the Mariners. So there's your MLB update for you. We're going to get into the world of NASCAR now, and I'm actually going to come on over here, and if you're watching on our video stream, it's time for me to take a seat. You know that means things are getting serious here on the scoreboard. Here is some news for you. I'm going to read some tweets from Bob Pockrass. Big penalty. Denny Hamlin and team have been docked 75 points and 10 playoff points. Chris Gabehart, the crew chief, has been fined $100,000. The team disassembled the Bristol winning engine before being torn down after its next scheduled use. TRD self-reported this violation. So when a team wins with an engine it plans to use in another race under NASCAR rules that require most engines to be used for a second event, it must present the engine for a teardown after that second event. TRD disassembled and rebuilt Hamlin's race-winning Bristol engine. With the penalty, Hamlin dropped from 3rd to 6th in the Cup standings, and his playoff points go from 21 to 11, not including playoff points that he would get for where he finishes in the regular season, by the way. Here is a statement for you from David Wilson, the president of TRD USA. As the engine builder for our partner NASCAR Cup Series teams, TRD is solely responsible for the handling and disposition of all our engines pre- and post-race. Despite procedures being in place, Denny's race-winning engine from Bristol was mistakenly returned to our Costa Mesa facility, disassembled, and rebuilt instead of being torn down and inspected by NASCAR per the rulebook. Although we know with absolute certainty that the engine was legal and would have passed inspection, we left NASCAR in an impossible position because they were not given the opportunity to properly inspect our engine. We have reviewed our process and have implemented several additional steps to ensure that this never happens again. TRD takes full responsibility for this grievous mistake, and we apologize to Denny, Chris, Coach Gibbs, the entire JGR organization, NASCAR, and our fans. Man, so they break a rule, and they self-report it, and because of that, NASCAR has to throw down the hammer on Denny Hamlin and the number 11 team. I'm sure they didn't want to do this so close to the end of the regular season, but they were left with absolutely no choice. This is for a engine seal violation. By the way, this is a L2 penalty. 75 points, 10 playoff points. The 10 playoff points is what hurts the most, man. That's tough. That's a real tough loss, especially this late in a season where you don't have that much time to make up those playoff points. That's a tough penalty to swallow. And we've talked about it here on the scoreboard. I had Denny Hamlin as one of, if not the guys to beat coming into the playoffs this year. But he loses all those playoff points. He drops to 6th in the regular season standings, which he was up in 4th, I believe. That's tough to swallow, man. No way for him to make up those playoff points yet. Only 2 races remain in the regular season. We go to Daytona this weekend, where anybody can win a stage and get a playoff point. And then we go to Darlington, and I expect Denny to run well at Darlington. He has plenty of times in the past. But you're going to be looking at those 11 playoff points that you are missing out on. And who knows, that really, really could become an issue when we get to the round of 8. To trying to see who's going to advance to the Final Four. It's going to be a story. And I don't know if Denny were to miss the championship race, the Final Four, if you will people be pulling this penalty up that NASCAR has handed down to Denny Hamlin? And this isn't a decision that NASCAR made. This is like part of the rule books. If you break this rule, this is your penalty. So we're not talking about something where NASCAR decides to do something. This is clear cut. Do people bring this up if Denny Hamlin ends up missing the championship race? Say, well, they had that penalty. If they didn't have the penalty, they'd be fine. Which could be true. But man, that is a tough break for Denny Hamlin and the 11 crew. He is now 103 points behind Tyler Reddick, who is currently the regular season points leader. Tyler Reddick has had some run over the past few weeks. Going back, we're just going to go over some of his results. So he won Michigan, right? 3rd at Richmond, 2nd at Indy, 6th at Pocono, 2nd at the Chicago Street Race, 3rd at Nashville, and 6th at New Hampshire. He had an anomaly 22nd place finish at Iowa, 8th at Sonoma, 4th at WWT, 4th at Charlotte. That is some run. That is some run. If you just eliminate the Iowa race, he has finished in the top 10 in 10 consecutive races. That's if you eliminate Iowa. It would be 10 of the previous 11 races that he has finished in the top 10. That has projected him pretty high up in the standings here. So high, actually, that he is now your point leader going into Daytona. Still, anything can happen atop the standings. Chase Elliott, only 10 points behind. Not impossible to make that up. And then you got Kyle Larson, who has a missed race in his catalog here. He's missed a race recently. He was not at the Coca-Cola 600. And he is only 32 points behind the point leader. I would say that Ryan Blaney and William Byron, 82 and 86 points, are out of contention for that regular season championship. So I'm looking at the 3 cars of Tyler Reddick, Chase Elliott, and Kyle Larson to see who is going to be the regular season point leader at the end of the regular season. Now, this is important because there are bonus points attached to where you finish in the regular season. So Denny not only loses playoff points with this penalty that's handed down, but he's going to lose penalty points on the back end as well if he loses positions in the standings due to this. And he has lost 2. He was 4th. He is now 6th. Will he continue to fall? Maybe, maybe not. Coming up on our next commercial break here on the program, we're going to continue the NASCAR talk just a little bit longer on the other side of the break. I have some news for you regarding trying to keep cars on the racetrack instead of flipping over. Then we'll talk a little Panther news and we'll get into things happening around the world of sports. It's almost time to start previewing the high school football season as that starts this coming Friday. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Scoreboard.
This guy knows his sports, right? There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
I don't really know what we did to deserve this, but we'll accept it. without any reservation. Beautiful weather continues for the rest of our work week. Plenty of sunshine today. Still low humidity. Temperatures climb up to around 80 for this afternoon. We fall back tonight into those upper 50s around the outlying spots and farms. Could see mid-50s by early Friday morning. Sunshine, low 80s for Friday afternoon. Weekend still in great shape. It's a little more humid, a little hotter next week. That's your forecast for the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Drum Landscape Supply is the go-to spot for anything you need for your yard. Transform your landscaping. Drum Landscape Supply has trees, flowers, natural stone, custom blended grass seed, mulch, and more. Plus, they deliver. DrumLandscapeSupply.com.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Have you taken the Desco Challenge? Desco is where the professional goes for electrical supplies.
My name is Ashley. I just redid the lighting in my home, and the customer experience at Desco was second to none.
See for yourself at DescoInc.com.
More than a century ago, Bunch Johnson Funeral Home was founded on compassion. Let us assist you with pre-planning for funerals and cremations. Our family is here when you need us. Bunch Johnson Funeral Home.
Attention, fellow conservative investors. What does the name Reagan mean to you? It stands for being the ultimate conservative. It also stands for the Reagan Gold Group. Do you see storm clouds approaching? The stock market hates uncertainty, and there are plenty of reasons to be concerned. High inflation, unstable debt, and economic uncertainty are just a few. You have car insurance, homeowners insurance, and life insurance. But do you have insurance for your retirement savings and your 401k? We urge all fellow conservative investors to learn about the one asset that could help ensure your nest egg doesn't crack under economic pressure. G-O-L-D, gold. Call the one name any conservative investor needs to know about. Reagan Gold Group.
800-296-1557. 800-296-1557. 800-296-1557. That's 800-296.
Be a part of the conversation.
We can't fix America's debt by starving its people.
Have your say.
One shooting after another, and we're doing nothing to solve it?
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
I'm Bryce Johnson with this Unpacking It Sports and Faith Minute. When former NFL cornerback Vontae Davis retired from the league, he shockingly left the stadium during halftime of a game and never returned. In life, each of us regularly decides whether to keep going or to quit. Though perseverance is usually a good thing, there are other times when we must be willing to let go, stop an activity, or leave a situation. As followers of Jesus, we are called to live surrendered lives, dependent on His leading and guiding, and oftentimes this means making the tough choice. A surrendered life to Jesus means quitting our old life in order to embrace the new life He has for us. It's an exciting adventure that requires a daily commitment to go where He wants us to go. So today, let's remember that Jesus tells us, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. I'm Bryce Johnson, and you can unpack that. For more, go to unpackingit.com.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Southwest Airlines has staked its brand on 2 of your bags flying free, but now it's facing pressure from an activist investor group that wants big changes to the C-suite, the board, and company policies. So Southwest has started asking loyalty members and customers how they'd feel about fees for checked bags, for low-cost fares. The airline says yes, the question was asked, but it doesn't reflect an imminent change in policy. Walmart Plus saw its membership growth flatten out, so now the Amazon Prime rival is offering discounts for customers from Burger King. Dow Jones reports they can get 25% off every online order and a free Whopper every 3 months. McDonald's, meantime, is looking for growth overseas. It's planning to open more than 200 new restaurants in the UK and Ireland. No word on whether Shamrock shakes become standard. On Wall Street, investors pulled back. The Dow fell 178, the Nasdaq 300, the S&P 50, losses of almost half to 1 2/3%. Joan Doniger, Bloomberg Radio.
The Scoreboard with Joe Berg continues now on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Second half of the Scoreboard today. I'm still sitting down, which means we still got to talk some pretty serious news here. Yes, things are getting serious here on the Scoreboard. I know it doesn't happen often, but it is today. Talking about NASCAR, things happening around the world of that. I have some information for you about the appeal of the appeal. So we talked about this yesterday, the appeal of the decision to bar the Richmond win from putting Austin Dillon into the playoffs. Well, the appeal went to the appeals panel and the penalty was upheld as far as playoff eligibility goes, but they did reduce the suspension of the spotter from 3 races down to 1 race. Now, RCR says that they plan to appeal the decision to the final appeal officer. And a few hours ago, we got the update that the final appeal will be on Monday. I feel like if you appeal the appeal and you lose, you should be suspended. Take your loss, man. Take the loss and move on. Also, in the world of NASCAR. Oh, by the way, also talking about this final appeal, the final appeal officer is Langley Speedway owner Bill Mullis. So we'll have that decision probably Tuesday. I would assume if the hearing and the appeal is going to be on Monday, NASCAR, unless, you know what? I wouldn't put it out of the realm of NASCAR to say, all right, yeah, this ended at 4:30, but we're still going to release the news now. So maybe we hear the results Monday. I would say probably Tuesday is when we're going to hear about it. So as far as we know now, Austin Dillon is not a playoff driver, but that could change on Monday. It could change Monday as well if NASCAR cannot get this race in and we're there all day, all night Saturday, all day Sunday, and then finally some break in the weather on Monday. That would be interesting. I wonder if the appeal would get pushed back. I don't know. A lot of things up in the air with NASCAR. We have an update to the car. The car tomorrow, or not car, wow. What is it, 2007? 2008? The next-gen car got a little bit of an improvement during the week. NASCAR will mandate a new right side rear window air deflector beginning with Saturday's Coke Zero Sugar 400. Following wind tunnel testing, the added component to the next-gen increases the liftoff speed of the car in the early part of the spin, which makes it less likely to get airborne on its own. The mandate comes in response to Corey LaJoie's flip when it went in the air and landed on the roof shortly after spinning down the backstretch. And here's the thing about that spin. These cars are running 200 miles an hour. We saw some 205 going into the corner, but they are not exiting the corner at 200 miles an hour. I think when LaJoie spun, he was probably going 185, 190, somewhere in that range. And he really didn't have that much time for speed to get scrubbed off of the car because of how fast it went around. So the car just flew. It hit that takeoff speed and it just flew. If you don't know what a rear window air deflector is, it is more commonly known as the shark fin on the back of the car. There is currently one on the car on the left side rear window, and they're just going to mirror it on the right side. I have some information for you here on liftoff speeds and things like that. Do we remember in 2019 when Kyle Larson's car flipped? Well, apparently the liftoff speed was 70 miles per hour because of the damage that was sustained by the car. So they are trying to increase the liftoff speed. Apparently, according to wind tunnel testing, the shark fin on the left and right side is going to change the liftoff speed to 220 miles per hour. And we do not get speeds of 220 miles per hour in NASCAR. That's more of an IndyCar thing. And I guess Formula One as well. But this doesn't eliminate the fact that if a car does go sideways and it gets damaged, if it gets hit, if he gets T-boned while you're sideways and a little bit of air gets underneath the car, you still have the potential for the car to get airborne. You're never going to eliminate flips in NASCAR, especially if we keep going to Daytona, Talladega, and I guess now Michigan has to be thrown on the list. I'm surprised that we haven't seen more cars get airborne at Michigan. Man, 10 years ago, Jeff Gordon's qualifying speed was like an average of 204 miles per hour around that track. So I'm surprised that it took this long for a car to blow over like that at Michigan, but it was never out of the question with the speeds that they're running. This double air deflector on the left and right side is supposed to alleviate a lot of those problems. So we may not see one get up in the air this weekend. Oh, no. Good for NASCAR. Good job, NASCAR. We have Daytona this coming weekend. Just a quick little rundown for you of the weekend schedule. It's kicking off on Friday with Xfinity qualifying at 3 o'clock, and then Cup Series qualifying at 5 o'clock. 7:30, you will have the Wawa 250 powered by Coca-Cola. That's going to be at 7:30. And then Saturday, you're going to have a lot of events taking place on a lot of different racetracks. The ARCA Menard Series and the Craftsman Truck Series are going to be having their practice and qualifying. So the ARCA Series practice at 2, qualifying at 3. Truck Series practice at 4, qualifying at 4:30. And then Saturday night, if we can get it in, this is a big if right now, 7:30, the Coke Zero Sugar 400. That is the NASCAR Cup Series. Now, this is not the end of your NASCAR weekend on Saturday night, because on Sunday, we're going to have more racing. The ARCA Menard Series has the Milwaukee Mile Race at 1 p.m., and the Craftsman Truck Series will follow them up at 4 p.m. for the Leuna 175. That's going to be over at the Milwaukee Mile. All of the Milwaukee Mile festivities are going to be broadcast on Fox Sports 1, whereas the Xfinity and the Cup Series at Daytona are all going to be NBC or USA. So just a little update for you. Update your viewing habits accordingly. I want to get into some things that are happening in the news of the NFL, but first I want to talk some Panthers. We're coming up quickly on a commercial break, so just a quick update for you on the Panthers. Not crazy breaking news, but we do have a small trade. The Panthers trade with the Seahawks for cornerback Michael Jackson. In return, they send Michael Barrett, who is a rookie inside linebacker, and he was also in danger of not making the 53-man roster. So the Panthers get rid of a little excess, get a cornerback, which they desperately need with the injury to Dane Jackson. So now Michael Jackson is going to be the cornerback, the new cornerback for the Panthers. He will be competing with a few other people to see who is going to be starting opposite J.C. Horn come week 1. But a little bit of a change up there for you for the Panthers. So they get some depth, much needed depth at that. One more segment on the scoreboard on this Thursday. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
I don't really know what we did to deserve this, but we'll accept it without any reservation. Beautiful weather continues for the rest of our work week. Plenty of sunshine today. Still low humidity. Temperatures climb up to around 80 for this afternoon. We fall back tonight into those upper 50s around the outlying spots and farms. Could see mid-50s by early Friday morning. Sunshine, low 80s for Friday afternoon. Weekend still in great shape. Gets a little more humid, a little hotter next week. That's your forecast for the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Langtree, Lake Norman, and Mooresville has free music this Thursday featuring a concert by Third Rail. Third Rail presents their high-energy show of rock and roll cover songs, while Langtree is open for food and drinks. Event time is 6:30 p.m., music begins at 7, and the Langtree shops off Exit 31 from I-77 are open all day. Grab your lawn chairs and enjoy Langtree Live this Thursday night with a free concert by Third Rail. Brookdale Village in Huntersville continues their Friday night Live Under the Oaks concert series with music from Dukes and Smith. The Dukes and Smith Band provides an energetic mix of pop, rock, country, R&B, and beach music. Come and enjoy all Brookdale Village has to offer with the free Dukes and Smith concert beginning at 6 p.m. Friday at Brookdale Village in Huntersville. Downtown Mooresville presents the Downtown Summer Sidewalk Sale this Saturday. Join locally owned businesses for hot sales. Come shop till you drop in downtown Mooresville on Saturday. Davidson presents Concerts on the Green Saturday. The Dave Matthews Tribute Band plays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the Davidson Village Green. Enjoy this free performance on Saturday night in downtown Davidson. On Saturday, September 7th, see the top riders from the Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship as they compete on a custom-built course at ZMAX Dragway. The playoff opener features a two-moto format for the 450cc class and the 250cc class, promising plenty of drama and excitement the moment the gates drop. The Super Motocross Fan Fest is a pre-race event taking place from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. where you can see the teams practice, prepare, and qualify for the playoff round and is included with your event ticket. Don't miss the biggest Super Motocross race of the year. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com or the CMS app for information and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Conversations that matter.
I gotta tell you, I'm afraid to even think about the next presidential election.
Led by you.
It's a mockery of American politics.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Parents can find a quality classical Christian education at Headwaters Academy. For more information, the phone number is 704-876-1520.
Talk sports with Joe Berg. Call 844-STUDIO-4. It's the Scoreboard on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, friends, it is the final segment here on the Scoreboard. 844-STUDIO-4. That's 844-788-3464. Anything you want to chat about, I'm here for you for the next 10 minutes, 11 minutes, somewhere around there. So if you're interested in chatting, get on those phone lines, 844-STUDIO-4. That's 844-788-3464. I have more Panther news for you. We didn't have a chance to get it all in before we went to that last commercial break. The Panthers plan to play Bryce Young and the entire starting offense and defense in their final preseason game versus the Buffalo Bills. Now, don't get your hopes up too much. He is not committed to how much he will be playing the starters. All we know is the starters will be playing. Man, that's huge. And I have a few quotes here from Penalized that I want to go over for you. This is concerning to me. Head coach did not play starters in the first 2 preseason games, losses to New England and the Jets, due to a few injuries and the team not having a complete, quote, grasp of the system, unquote. Huh? How do they not know the system yet? I mean, I know it's a new system, but guys, like, it's now preseason. You should know what's going on by now. Or am I just completely wrong? And yeah, a lot of these teams are still figuring out their system in preseason. I mean, I know preseason is for working out the kinks, but I didn't think that preseason was for continuing to learn the system. I would have hoped that they had a pretty good grasp of it by now, but apparently not. Bryce Young said that he trusts whatever the coaching staff decides to do about him playing in Saturdays, and that no matter what, he'll be confident entering the regular season. And I've talked about this all preseason. Bryce Young has not earned the right to sit in the preseason. I understand injuries are a thing. You will not hear me saying that injuries in the preseason are not a thing, because they absolutely are. But Bryce Young is coming off of a historically bad season for a number 1 overall pick. Okay? In the history of the NFL, get this. In the history of the NFL, Bryce Young is tied for the fewest touchdown passes for a quarterback with at least 500 attempts. He only threw 11 touchdown passes last year. I'm going to leave you with that one. 11 touchdown passes, tied for the fewest in NFL history with a quarterback with at least 500 attempts. Not in their first year, not for a number 1 overall pick, ever. Ever, ever, ever. That's brutal. But it will be nice to see Bryce Young and the entire starting offense out there on the final preseason game Saturday against the Buffalo Bills. The one thing I will say, if the Panthers look really good, don't look into it, because the Bills are not expected to play any of their starters, offense or defense, in the final preseason game. So a couple of different philosophies there. McDermott, the head coach for the Bills, played Josh Allen in the starters in the first game of the preseason. Dave Canales plays his starters in the final game of the preseason. So just a little bit of a philosophy difference there. But just keep an eye on it. We're going to see Bryce Young out playing football. And I've said, I don't care if he hands it off. I don't care if he hands it off 5 times. I don't. Just put him in the game. Hopefully he knows the system by now. And that's a concerning quote now, isn't it? A few stories that I want to talk to you about real quick. We already spoke about the Mariners firing their manager. This is an interesting one. This is a really, really interesting story here. Here's the headline. Thieves swipe a sword and bullhorn from St. John's head coach Rick Pitino. 2 thieves swiped a ceremonial sword and bullhorn from the office of Rick Pitino on Thursday. That's just a funny story. The department declined to elaborate, but also released surveillance footage Thursday showing 2 men walking down a hallway in the building, one of them carrying the stolen sword and the other carrying the stolen bullhorn. So they got him on camera, but that's a funny story right there. Rick Pitino, the head coach now of St. John's basketball, in case you didn't know. I just found that to be a pretty comical story. You're stealing the ceremonial horn. Here's something that came across my timeline today. It is the way too early 2025 mock draft for the NFL. Yes, I know we are in preseason and there are already mock drafts out for the NFL. In this one, it has the New York Giants with the number 1 overall pick, not being the worst team in the NFL, but trading with New England for the number 1 pick and taking Carson Beck out of Georgia. This mock draft also has the Carolina Panthers as the number 2 pick, not by trade. So not a lot of high praise for these Panthers. Man, I have a feeling they're going to get punched in the mouth week 1. Something tells me that these Panthers are not going to be ready for the Saints in the Superdome on the week 1 game. We're on the road, not playing here, and they take on the Saints. It's going to be a tough game. But I just found that fun. A couple of interesting stories here as we wrap up the scoreboard today. The way too early mock drafts, you're going to see more and more of them. And the horn and the sword being stolen from Rick Pitino's office. Man, that stinks. It does. As we get towards the end of the program here, take a look at some things that happened on this day in sports history. As we've been doing, let's start with some more recent things. 2008, Jamaica set the relay record in the Olympics. The Jamaican team smashed the 4x100 relay record in the finale. They got disqualified from that in 2017, which doesn't make much sense to me, as somebody tested positive for prohibited substances. If I'm reading that right, the fact that they disqualified them 9 years later, I don't understand that. I probably am not reading that correctly, but something that happened on this day in history. 2004, American sprinter Justin Gatlin wins the coveted 100-meter gold medal in the Athens Olympics. 9.5 seconds ahead of Portugal and Greece. That was on this day in 2004. Here's one for you. 1994. Man, 1994 was a wild year for sports. DNA testing linked O.J. Simpson to the murder of Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman. Yeah, he was a free man. No longer with us. Died not long ago. Passed away. And, yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about that. But that did happen on this day in history. 1989, Nolan Ryan strikes out his 5,000th batter. That 5,000th batter was Ricky Henderson. 1989. Dwight Gooden of the Mets became the 11th rookie to strike out 200 batters on this day in 1984. Roger Maris in 1961 hit home run number 50 on this day of his 61 home runs. So he was a little bit farther ahead of what Aaron Judge is this year. Aaron Judge at 48. On this day, Roger Maris hit number 50. 2 home runs ahead. And one more. Let's go with something old. 1885. U.S. national champion men's tennis Richard Sears wins 5th consecutive U.S. single. That was on this day in 1985. Just a little fun history for you to end the program today. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in on the scoreboard today. Love getting to talk to each and every one of you. Tomorrow, we have quite a bit to look forward to on the weekend, and high school football starting up. You're not going to want to miss the show tomorrow. Until then, have a good night, everyone.
Serving you better than ever before. 105.